Hello, my dear notebook loving friends. It is time for another Heart Breathings Notebook Challenge where I have an assortment of beautiful notebooks and we're just going to chat about what I'm reading, what I'm working on, and how I'm using my notebooks this month. So let's dive in. Hello, welcome back to Heart Breathings. If you are new to the notebook challenge, but you clicked on this video because you love notebooks and you wanted to see what this is all about, the notebook challenge started maybe 5 years ago where we just decided, let's take all those beautiful notebooks that we've been hoarding and holding on to because we're afraid to start them. We're afraid to mess them up. We think they're too valuable. We don't think we have something important to go in them. We feel like we need to be more artistic with them. Whatever your excuse is for buying the notebook but then not using it. I'm calling you out. This is my monthly call out to say, grab a beautiful notebook that you bought, that you loved, that you wanted to use, and actually use it, because there is so much value that we can get out of journaling and memory keeping and planning and chronicling our lives or doing anything on paper to organize our ideas, organize our thoughts, organize our strategies. It can just be so helpful. And you were obviously drawn to notebooks in the first place, so let's use them. So I am going to share with you the notebooks that I'm currently using. I didn't get to do a notebook challenge at least last month, and I'm not sure there was one in March. I can't remember because it has been super busy. But also, I hit a point where I think it's really, for lack of a better term, really was a form of burnout of just, I've been working too hard. I've been showing up consistently and loving it, but it started to feel like I don't feel motivated to record, or I don't feel motivated to get on YouTube right now. And I've just been honoring that because I know that if I push myself through, first of all, I'm not going to show up with the right energy here. And second of all, I'm just going to burn out completely. And then I might need to take 6 months off instead of just 1 or 2. So I've been honoring that and enjoying my time off, so to speak. I've still been working really hard, but just things are looking a little bit different. I'm making some shifts in my life, and I'm also taking some time off this summer. So I'll show you a notebook that I've made for that. And what's so funny is that I get so much fulfillment out of using my notebooks, but also out of setting up new notebooks and decorating them and dreaming about what I could put in them and how it might help me. And it just refills my well. It's like a craft or a hobby. And so I have found myself over this past month and a half or so of kind of stepping back, that I found myself making new notebooks, and I don't even know if I'm going to use them. And in a way, I'm just not even going to feel guilty about whether I end up using them or not. I didn't buy anything new. I was just taking materials from my house, and I just have really enjoyed sort of rediscovering my spark. So I'm going to share some of that with you today. And again, no promises as to what will get used, but I do have these 2 staple notebooks that are definitely being used on a daily basis. So this is my Hobonichi 5-year, which is in its first year because I finished my previous Hobonichi 5-year. So I'm just going to update you on how that's going. And then I have my Sterling Ink B6 Common Planner that is my yearly sort of nighttime journal. So I decided this year for the notebook challenge that I wanted to update you on how the notebooks were going and getting filled, because originally I thought the notebook challenge would be about actually taking 1 notebook a month and filling it to completion, but that ended up not being as interesting to me as just using notebooks in whatever way served me at the time. And so I've been following that, but I know that some of you are also trying to actually use notebooks and finish them. So I'm going to take you on that journey. I think I showed you this, but I have a Salty Katie Co cover. The paper I have doesn't quite fill to the back, so I just don't look at the back. But I just picked out a page of some scrapbooking paper I had in the closet and put it in there. And I like this, but I think it's also maybe time to swap out this paper. And I like having a cover that you can swap out the looks, and I like having covers that, like notebooks that you can take and put into a different cover. I enjoy that kind of thing. And to be honest, right now I am leaning into every opportunity for joy I can get my hands on, and just really relishing and trying to almost romanticize the moments when I'm happy and I'm free and I'm able to just do something that I really like, whether it's frivolous or whether it's serious. I just am loving it. One of the difference that I made this year is I started to like last year or the past 5 years with my 5-year journal, I never knew what to do with this side page. So the layout is just horizontal for each year, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. And then there's this empty page over here that just has a quote in Japanese and then a blank page. And I just never used this page the entire 5 years previously. So what I've been doing this time is I have been writing my normal stuff over here. And then I have been putting the high temperature, the low temperature, the weight. I haven't been keeping up with my weight, honestly, the whole time because it hasn't really changed much this year. I lost some weight earlier last year when I got pneumonia, not the way I would prefer to lose weight. But anyway, I was tracking my weight and like how I was feeling, but I decided to kind of abandon that. Then anything that I wanted to remember specifically. So it could be a continuation of what I was talking about for the day, or it might be something like Evie needs glasses, or we got our first blue bonnets in the yard, because that is something that I know I can look back at later and be like, oh my goodness, that was the day Evie needed glasses. And if I want to, I can go in at the end of the 5 years and start adding photos or something like that. If I want, right now, I don't want to bulk this up too much, but also I can look next year and say, wow, we got blue bonnets a lot earlier last year than we did this year, or, you know, anything like that. Just kind of reference material type stuff. But I've been keeping up with it pretty well. And I did not fill it out last night because we were watching TV too late, but I will try to go in and backfill that. But so far, I feel like I've really been enjoying adding more to it this year. And that is kind of a reminder and a learning opportunity for me to say, you know what? The first time you do the notebook, the 5-year, it doesn't have to be perfect and you can always evolve it later. So that was a good reminder. I have my B6 notebook. It's just kind of going the way it's going. I think I mentioned before that I've tried this My Life in Pixels so many times where you just fill out it with a highlighter each day, and I've never stuck to it. But putting it in the journal that I know I use every day was a win for me. Way too many I don't feel good green days, and I made a mistake really by fun and productive, inspired, excited. What's really the difference between that? So I might go in, I think I mentioned this before, and change what these mean when I hit the 6-month mark, but we'll see. I have pretty much been using this every single day, and I switched this year to the layout that is more similar to the Hobonichi, where you've got the horizontal lines over here and then the pages over to the side that are blank. And I've basically just been doing kind of extra journaling on this page. And then over here is just for each day, I write a little bit about that day. And then I also have been keeping up with these little tabs that I'm adding and doing a habit tracker in here, as well as my journaling pages. And I have not set it up for May yet, but I did not journal a lot in April, literally just this many pages. And that's one of the things I like about the Sterling ink is the pages are numbered, but you don't have to stick to any number of pages for any specific month. So I've definitely been enjoying that. It might be time to switch out the cover. I have a red cover, I have a pink cover. So I might change out this purple, but I do really like the purple too. So we'll see. A couple of Erin Condren things. I do apologize for the light, but I really do need it because it is super overcast today. But in 2023, they came out with these meeting notebooks, and I started this particular journal in August of 2023. And it has taken me this long to fill it out. And I use this for any kind of meeting that I have with people, like Zoom meetings or things like that, like coaching meetings, mastermind meetings. And I really have liked this. I don't really use this sort of next steps. Let me find an empty page here. It is basically meeting, date, attendees, objective, and then a bunch of lined pages, and then a next steps with the checklist. I don't always use the next steps, but I do keep track of the meetings. And what I like about this is I can always find where my meeting notes are because they're in the same notebook every time. Whereas before I would do meetings and I would try to have like one notebook for Accelerate and one notebook for client meetings or coaching. And I just kept getting things lost. So this way it's all in one. And I just had a meeting today with Vince from Fourth Wall to talk about new merch and things like that. But I am getting down to the wire on the last pages. It does come with a folder and some stickers in the back here, but I haven't really used them. So I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 8 pages left, and then this will be done. So probably by the end of next week, because I have several meetings coming up, I'm going to be done with a notebook that I have been working on for legitimately 2 full years. So that feels really, really good. And I have another meeting notebook waiting in the wings. So this is the Bold Blooms design from last year, same exact meeting notebook. On the interior, they do have these, I don't know for now, but I do have one that is the larger 8.5 by 11 size. But I kind of have liked this size, and I haven't found for very many meetings that I've run out of room. So I feel like the 7 by 9 is right for me. But if you take a lot of meetings and you need to take notes, like you're a guidance counselor, or you take notes on paper for whatever you're doing for your job or for your marketing or for whatever, this is actually really good. And even if you just wanted to use this to strategize, I feel like you could take out the meeting and attendees and you could use this as a project notebook. So I've really liked it, but I just wanted to share that I'm almost done, and hopefully by next month at least, I'll be starting a new notebook. Since we are on the Erin Condren train, I will actually have my next video will be a full epic Erin Condren haul from the 2025-26 release. And I want to say thank you again to anyone who used my link to make your purchases. It really makes a difference and allows me to buy more planners. So I appreciate it. If you decide you want to buy anything from Erin Condren, I would love for you to use my affiliate link. But this is kind of where it comes in that I'm saying I have been setting up new notebooks and using new things, mostly planners that I'm turning into notebooks. So part of what I really love to do is Frankenplan, which is basically to take a tool and uncoil this, take all the pages of a planner out, and then recoil it with pages of my own that I've printed, because I bought my own coil punch. I will link that for you below the video where I talk about that. And it gives me a chance to take old planners like some of these. This was from last year, not this year, but I can reuse pages I didn't use before, which gives me a chance to kind of recycle old planners that didn't get used. And all I had to do was go in with whiteout and white out the year and the dates. And then I just put little sticky date dots on here, and it's like a brand new planner. And you could do the same thing if you would prefer a Monday start. You just get stickers that say Monday, or white this out and draw it in like a big M, T, etc. But it gives new life to old planners, and so I wanted to mention that again in case you've got some old stuff that's kind of sitting around. But because I never got a chance to edit my Q2 reset video, because like I said, low motivation. I think I mentioned this in my last video, I've had what I call molasses energy. And I just know from experience that I have to honor that and take the breaks that I need, because otherwise I get really low and burned out. And so it has been a restorative season for me, and I can feel my spark for writing, planning, YouTube, travel, time with my kids. It's returning with the sun, and it makes such a difference. So if you needed a rest, or you've been feeling like your life is in chaos, sometimes it just takes taking a step back from your obligations. And even if you'll see in my goals here, I have not gained many new YouTube subscribers because I haven't had new YouTube videos coming up. But in the grand scheme of things, gaining new subscribers is not the only metric for success, right? So let's talk goals. So I do HB90, which is a program that I sort of put together through things like Kanban board and visual workflows, 90-day goals, time blocking, things like that, and made into one program. I know many of you have taken it, but if you haven't, it'll be offered again probably in September, but in July I'm doing a Kickstarter for my own printed planner. But for now, I've been printing my own out and kind of putting it together. So I have 2 HB90 planners. This one is, again, in an HB90 or in a Erin Condren coil, but my own printed pages. This is a yearly planner that has all my goal setting pages for the year, and this is my 90-day planner. So I wanted to just kind of go over how my goals went, because I didn't get a chance to do it inside a quarterly reset video. But basically, I failed on paper at almost every single goal that I set for Q1. And this is part of how I knew I just wasn't able to show up. I was still in healing mode. The kids were sick a lot. I had an in-person event that took more time than I expected, but was so rewarding. And I'm gonna show you some of that stuff in a minute. But in terms of the goals that I set, they were way too ambitious for the amount of energy, health, and time that I had available. And I think I just hit a rock bottom of, I can't keep trying to push for goals when the true goal needs to be restoration and joy. And so sometimes I just need that reminder, and it's really good for me. I kind of have to come back to this and cycle back to it every once in a while. But I had set a goal to start building a foundation for my future success as an author. And I did hit over 13,000 on YouTube, but everything else, my membership, Instagram, TikTok, I never still even posted on, my newsletter goals, my income goals, I didn't hit any of those. Instagram got close. I set a goal for 10,500 and I got to 10,300. So in the end, it doesn't really matter that I didn't hit these goals yet. I could hit them in June, and it wouldn't, like 5 years from now, I won't remember if I hit 13,000 newsletter subscribers in June of this year or January, right? Like when you zoom out a little bit, you start to realize these specific numbers aren't that important. But the truth is, I didn't hit these goals because I didn't put in the work. I didn't do anything to grow my newsletter. I didn't post on TikTok. I hardly posted on Instagram. And so I didn't see the results. And that was a clear indicator to me that, like, I just need to take a break, that my heart wasn't in it for a little while. Then over here, my second goal is my heart breathing goal, and my YouTube, I was hoping to get in Q1 up to 79K. You can see here, like if you look at the number, if you're watching this video as it comes out, I still just hit like 78.8 subscribers. I'm still not at 79K. And sometimes it gets really frustrating because, you know, you would hope that after years of putting in the work that it would just operate without you and smooth sailing without you for a little while. But sometimes that's the way online algorithms are. If you don't feed them, they don't show it to new people. And sometimes that can start to feel discouraging. And so if you're going through some of that, of like, my book sales used to be better, my Instagram used to grow faster, my TikTok was growing faster, and now it's not, like things that used to work aren't working anymore. Let me just send you a little bit of encouragement that those numbers are just a blip in time. It's really just a moment in time. And you never know when a month from now, you're gonna get your energy back and you're gonna get excited again, and you're gonna gain 5,000 subscribers in a 6-month period, right? It's like, sometimes we judge ourselves for the immediate progress that we're getting when we really are laying the foundation. So if you need time to rest, it's okay if the numbers aren't growing. And I'm telling you this partially because I've had to tell myself that a lot lately. Like, it's okay to rest. It's okay to not run the course every single quarter. It's okay to take time off to be with your family, because society and goals and being a high achiever kind of teaches us or pushes us to think that we have to do that to prove our worth. So if you're relating to any of that right now because you've been in a similar situation, just know that you're not alone, and know that every single season doesn't have to be your biggest growth season. And it's okay for there to be a rest season before the big growth season. In fact, sometimes when we don't take the rest season, we end up wondering why things get worse and worse and worse, when all we needed to do was take a rest instead of keep pushing harder and harder. Okay, I'll get off my soapbox, but I didn't hit YouTube. I didn't start my membership. I was, again, only 200 shy of my Instagram goal. I didn't hit my Etsy income goal for the first time in a long time. I did kind of blow my newsletter goal out of the water. So thank you to everybody who signed up for my newsletter. I think that was partially because of still kind of lingering rough draft challenge stuff. And then I did hit my course goal in the middle section. So I do a good, better, best. So I hit the better goal of that one. So that was really great. But the rest of them were X's. And then this glow up, I was going to lose weight, work out, do some meditation, clean my house. Like literally none of that got done. So this was probably on paper the worst quarter I've had in 5 years, but it was also so successful. Like, some of that doesn't get reflected in these goals because I got to do HardyCon, which was so incredibly rewarding. Some of you have not seen this yet, but I did. Of course, if I'm going to do a live in-person event, I'm going to create an entire workbook for everybody. So we had these little miniature Kanban boards on the table so that everybody could do their to-do, doing, and done. And I've seen a lot of you using these at home. And then this entire HardyCon workbook was so fun to create. It's very similar opening to my HB90, but it was really just, we went through this throughout the course of the in-person event. So let me know if you guys would be interested. This is a career strategy, basically an author career strategy and marketing workbook that I feel like was so powerful. And number one, if you were at HardyCon and you've had some really good breakthroughs, please send me an email and let me know as you've finished working through this. But also, if you're looking at this idea of a marketing workbook and you're thinking, I want to get one of those, let me know in the comments, because I've been thinking about making this available with like a mini course or something here on my channel. So we'll see. I only have like 2 of them left, so I'd have to order more, but they turned out really great. So it's like sometimes the goals on paper don't match the joy, because this one event was so satisfying and amazing and soul-filling that I could have done nothing but that all quarter and it would have been a success. So, you know, celebrate the wins. We'll just put it that way. But I did turn over here to Q2 and I did all my planning for Q2. And one of the big things that I did when I started planning for Q2 was really scale back on how many things and how much time I was going to give myself. So part of the HB90 system, if you want to use it, it's not mandatory, but it's just a tool you can use, is to look at your regular weekly schedule and identify how many blocks of 30 minutes or an hour you can work and keep it sustainable. And so I usually have over 100, sometimes 120 task blocks a week, which is basically a 60-hour work week. And I scaled it back to less than a 40-hour work week. And that feels pretty big for me, as well as the fact that I have a lot of weeks here where I'm only going to work 10 hours a week or less. So I really heavily scaled back my time this quarter to allow room for that rest. Because it's one thing to say, oh, I need rest and I'm going to take it. And it's another thing to actually allow yourself to rest. So it has been a challenge because I am not, I'm a person that feels like, I don't know, I like to work a lot. I don't want to say workaholic because that has such a negative connotation, but I just enjoy the work that I do, but I just needed a break. So anyway, when I set my goals this quarter, not only did I scale way back on the time I wanted to spend, like you may notice, I haven't been posting much to Instagram. I haven't been sending out as many newsletters. I've just been kind of in rest mode. So I also set my goals to not have those numbers. And this is the first time I've ever done this since I started using HB90. So this is kind of a big deal for me. So I just said, I want to focus my creative energy on building momentum and visibility that fuels steady income growth and long-term success. But I didn't put any metrics, like I have to hit this number with my membership or my YouTube channel, or I have to make this much money, because it's really focused more on my creativity and growth in a way that feels sustainable. Then over here, my Heart Breathing's goal to show up consistently and authentically. And that's really the goal. Just show up authentically. The consistently for me is less about every single week and more about the energy that I'm showing up in. Like I want to show up with, when my energy is good enough to show up, I want to show up with good energy to expand my reach, deepen my impact, and grow my aligned income. And then my final sort of Project 48 growth or goal is to show up for myself daily with intention and love, prioritizing my mental and physical health so I can feel confident, clear, and joyful. So no weight loss goals, no specific exercise goals, no pressure to like keep the house a certain way or to organize closets, but just to show up for myself with intention and love. And this is a big step for me right now, because I'm sure that eventually, maybe even next quarter, I will be right back on the like, let's hit these numbers, let's grow, let's continue to achieve big things. But maybe it'll be the entire year that I'm taking a little bit of a grace period for myself. But that feels really good to just listen to my body and my mental health and say, what do I need right now? So anyway, I know that's a lot of time on just a handful of notebooks, but hopefully you enjoyed seeing that. So this is the HB90 notebook with an Erin Condren coil and cover, but the entire interior is my HB90 yearly goal setting planner. Then this is my HB90 quarterly planner. This Q2, I decided to use a black coil, which they don't offer anymore. I really love the black coil, and this is like Woven Wonders cover. I put my vision board here in the front, and then I didn't really do a full walkthrough of this, but I have hourly planner in the front here where I've been kind of hit or miss tracking my time. And then in the back section, I just have that repurposed. Like you can see, almost wrote nothing on my April calendar, but I have been planning in my HB90 planner. So that's what this looks like. And I'm so excited to see the actual printed planner for a Kickstarter. So those will be for a Q1 2026 planner. If you're interested, that will be launching in July. But I have been using this pretty well, but I have put a lot of notes pages in this too. So those are kind of my new quarterly goals planners, but I have been creating other things too. So I had this Hello Kitty planner because I had accidentally bought a handful of them. I don't know, don't ask. One of them was like a freebie thing that they had sent to me, but I forgot I already had one that was sitting in a box waiting for like a Christmas present. So anyway, I happily ended up with two 2025 Hello Kitty planners that are the vertical planners. And then I didn't use January through April basically. So I have taken the pages out that I didn't use and have recoiled it back with pages that I am going to use. So I'm calling this my Project 48 notebook. And I mean, how cute is the Hello Kitty planner? Like, I hope they continue to design these because they're just so beautiful. But I added some of my own pages in here. So I do have some vellum pages, a workout plan. I've been getting on the treadmill 3 times a week to do the Zombies Run 5K training with a dream someday of running a 5K without stopping. This is a big dream for me because I am not much of a runner, but I've got some meal planning stuff in here. I have like focusing in on my health, but you can see, again, I set it up and then in April, I just didn't feel like it. So I've been honoring that, but we'll see if here in May, I kind of am more interested in following through with it. And if I don't, then I can always repurpose these pages in another way at some point in the future. So I'm trying to go low pressure on myself. I also, when the new planners were about to come out and they put the 2025 planners on sale, like 60% off, I had some $10 reward certificates. So I was able to get a monthly planner for like $20, but then it was free for me because I had the credits. So that was kind of fun because many of you know that in the past, I always had a monthly planner that I would use for my content calendar. And I was trying to use my full HB90 planner for that. But it's so hard to explain because all of our brains work differently. But my brain likes to compartmentalize things. And I know I've explained this before, but if I have, I'm trying to plan Heart Breathing's content, and I also have everything else that's going on in my 3 businesses on that calendar, it's very difficult for me to focus because my brain goes, oh, I need to do this for the Broken Chapter Society and I better get this done for Etsy. And so I need a planner that's like just for Heart Breathing's content. So I have been planning out the videos that are going to go in my How to Finish Your Novel series, which actually is getting pushed back by 1 week due to some editing stuff. But I have been planning all of that out in here, and I will be outlining those videos on the just lined pages here. So I'm kind of back to this as my content calendar for Heart Breathings. And I ended up getting this cool cover that they have. I can't remember what they called it, but it looks so good with the sunset coil. And then I bought something recently that came with this little Hello Kitty charm, and I was like, perfect, because it's purple and it just looks so pretty. So new content calendar. I didn't do anything to modify this, but it is, new content calendar. But in terms of planners that I made or modified myself, I have 2, and they're both, again, like Erin Condren things that I pulled out. This one, I'm not going to show you the whole thing, but I basically took, and I keep putting them so full that they kind of they're over full, but that's okay because I like it. And you can just take one of these bands around the side and then it doesn't like stick up. But anyway, I took a notebook that is their 2-week travel notebook. If you've ever seen this before, it has pages in it like this where you say like one of my favorite moments, a joyful moment, tomorrow I'm looking forward to, and then a spread to do memories. Last I looked, this was sold out on their site, but it is coming back. So they have like a plan for each day for a 2-week vacation or whatever. So the month of June, I've mentioned this before and I'm not going to give a lot of details, but the month of June, my little family is going on a couple of different adventures. It will be more than 2 weeks of various things that we're going to be doing as a family, both locally and away. And I'm going to take as much time off as I possibly can to just focus on my family and to refill my own well. I'm planning to read a lot of books. I'm planning to not post a lot other than the things that have been scheduled to go up. So some of that Finish Your Novel series will continue to go up. But this is me honoring this time as well as celebrating my little boy, my tiny little baby boy. Well, he was never super tiny. He was 9.5 pounds when he was born, but he's turning 13 this summer. And so we're just really going to go on a fun family, adventure series of adventures. And so I put together a lot of stuff. So this is a mixture of things that are like Etsy printables, like where are we going to stay for this trip? Where's this flight going to? But it's also going to have a place to journal and kind of talk through what we're doing, but also packing lists and things like that. So I'm excited for this. And I'm hoping it just gets completely filled out with fun journaling and memories and things like that. So this is my new kind of travel notebook. And then I started thinking about, just raise your hand if you kind of remember, a few years ago, I had done a video about what I'm doing to get ahead. It was like, I called it my get ahead plan. And some of it was very successful. Some of it I didn't follow through with, which is kind of how plans work most of the time. But I'm working on that again. So right now I'm working on a thought of this year, 2025, being the year where I build up a stronger team, where I put systems and processes in place, where I don't have to work so hard all the time, and I make more space for my creativity. And so I took, again, the black coil from a previous planner. I took this Dream Life, which accidentally had printed it with two of the same picture of George. I just love that picture of him. So, this is a cover that I had made when Evie was super tiny, and I just still love it. And it was originally a budget planner, so I need to cover that up. But again, for some reason, I was feeling the black with the Woven Wonder design, and I'm going to cover some of this stuff. But basically, I took this old monthly planner, which didn't get used properly, as well as combining it with an old teacher planner. And I'm going to be using this, I know you can't see that great, but I'm going to be using this as a way to track all the things I'm doing to build my team and get ahead. And so I'll share that process with you guys as I get into it, which will be some of the planning happening in June, kind of behind the scenes, and then in July, starting to really execute it. And truthfully, some of it is being executed now. Like I've hired a project manager, I have a new VA assistant. There's pieces of this getting sort of fleshed out, but there's also more stuff I'm doing. So this is basically a combination monthly planner, teacher planner, and then as we get to the back in the notes section, I also have a project planner. So this one has, it doesn't fit in here. This one has project status, important dates, next steps, what I'm focusing on for different weeks and different projects with a to-do list over here. So let's say I wanted to begin to come up with a system for posting more regularly on Instagram. That would be the project for the week, is planning out my Instagram content. Who's going to help me? Who, am I going to use an assistant of any kind? Is anybody going to help with graphics and stuff like that? And so then I have a bunch of just plain notes pages, but it's kind of fun because these are some of the older ones that have the larger Erin Condren flag on them with I put the same little folder that went with it, and then I've got some extras inside this little thing, but I'm gonna decorate this and get that all set up. So this is kind of a new get ahead plan, I guess. So lots of little things going on. I also have been continuing to work in my plotting planner. So just to kind of show you where we are in the process. For this is a B6 Stalogy. So far, even though this book is still a long way to go, before it's done. I have used up quite a bit of this notebook with ideas. There's a lot of world building. Plus I went through and did the Save the Cat beat sheet for this particular series with lots of sort of extra notes on world building. So I have a feeling I'm going to get through this first B6 notebook pretty quickly and maybe need a second one, but it's been really, really fun to work on this story. So continuing to work on that. And then just a little quick sneak peek here is that I had, some of you might remember this, I had this half letter cloth and paper with Happy Planner discs and a Happy Planner cover, and then a lot of things from Fancy Plans in here that was a kind of a budgeting thing. And I just don't use it. So I think I'm going to set this up in a different way, but I haven't decided exactly what else I'm going to set it up with. But I loved using this half letter size with this cover, and I already have all these little tabs for the year. So this might become either a home organization binder, which is kind of what it was in the beginning in addition to budget stuff, or it actually might become a human design astrology tarot journal kind of thing. So I will keep you guys updated what I do with it, but I've just been really having fun setting things up and enjoying new planners. Okay, my friends, I took a little bit of break that you didn't see. Evie got home from school and George made me coffee, so I need to remember to actually drink that as we're sitting here. But I did want to show you some of the other notebooks, some things I've been gifted and some things I've been kind of working my way through. So last year, many of you know that I had set up an evidence notebook that essentially the idea of an evidence notebook is to say, to your subconscious mind, here's proof that I am moving in the right direction. So if you set a goal for yourself that someday you were going to be a published author, for example, then every single step you take, every piece of encouragement, every little sign out there that this is possible for you goes into your evidence notebook, which creates a collection of proof that your dream is coming true. So for example, you might put something in there like you went to a book signing of a famous author and they told you that your book idea sounded really good when you told them. Or let's say you sent your book out to critique partners and they were like, wow, this has a lot of really great storylines, or I love your characters. Or let's say you signed up for a course to teach you how to self-publish. All of those things become evidence that someday you're going to be a published author. And it can literally be anything, any little sign, a dream, a comment that someone makes, a way that you feel as you're writing, and it could be true for any goal. And so I call this an evidence notebook, and it's just a way of building confidence in your goals and the fact that they're really possible for you. So I had a sterling ink that I used for this last year, and it's full now, and I really love looking back on that. So I wanted to do it again. So I had created this cute little notebook. This is the Animal Crossing cover from Hobonichi a few years back. And this is just a Stalogy, that's the A5 Stalogy. And I haven't fully set it up yet, but I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to use this cute notebook for, but this is gonna be my new evidence notebook, I believe. So I'm gonna set this up and I will share kind of how I put it together next time. But I have this little 2025 Coffee Monsters Co. that I think I'm going to put on the front of it. And then if I also use it in 2026, I'll get one from her next year. But this is going to be my new little notebook. And every time I look at it, it just makes me smile. And I like the rainbow because it feels like hope. And I don't know, this thing that says you're like really pretty. It's just, I don't know, it makes me happy. So this will be my new evidence notebook. I thought about making a gaming notebook because of the cover, but I end up not, we'll talk about that in a minute. I end up not always tracking my games, but new evidence notebook. I also have a few things that I got as gifts recently. So one is this beautiful traveler's notebook that I got from one of my readers that has this dragonfly where it's half wings and half flowers, and it has a pretty quote on the front. It did come with a pen, but I don't have that with me right now. And then it just has some card slots and a couple of different notebooks. One is lined and one is craft paper, and then one has a zipper pocket in the back. So thank you so much for this. These two gifts, I don't know exactly how I'm going to use, but they're now in my arsenal. And then this notebook, this cherry notebook, is from Cassie Ray, who is part of our community. So shout out to Cassie. We spent a lot of time together in New Orleans during HardyCon. And when we were going over to the mall to eat, we passed by the Coach outlet store, and the whole front of the store was decorated with cherries, which you guys know that I love. And so we had to go in, and Cassie secretly bought this notebook for me. I didn't know she was buying it. I was eyeing it to buy for myself, but she snuck it in there and bought it for me, which was very sweet. It has this beautiful cherries on the front and back. It has the little Coach logo here and then a beautiful tan interior. This is just a protector sleeve that you'll just pull out, and it has this beautiful Coach O-ring notebook that you can slide in and out, and you can put any A5 notebook in here. So don't know, I feel like this is one of those that I'm like, gosh, I got to find the perfect use for it, because not only is it cherries, but it was a gift. So need to be thinking on that. That might make an appearance sometime in the future. I also got, let me see if I can find it. Some of you know this planner because you had seen it in the background of one of my notebook videos, but I didn't get a chance to actually feature it. But this is the Memento Mori Goal Planner that is for 2025, and this is from Plannerpocalypse and Momokeen, and I love this. I am going to be kind of going through it, but it's so cute. The mortal to whom this planner belongs to is, and it is a goal planner. And if you want to follow her, it's youtube.com channel Momokeen. I'll put that right here. I'll link her channel in the description. But she sent me lots of goodies, including lots of stickers from her artwork, as well as this very cool planner. And I really want to take some time to set this up because it's got some moon stuff in it. It's got a lot of really cool places to kind of strategize and think through, but it also has a lot of like quarterly planning stuff. And I think I want to use this for some like more spiritual kind of planning. So thank you so much for that as a gift. She sent me this to me a couple of months ago, but I haven't been able to dive into it yet. But I can always redate the pages, which is something, again, to just always remember to not feel guilt about not using a planner exactly when it came out, because you can always redate it. So thank you for that beautiful gift. So nice. Just to share with you a couple other things, if I can grab them here. So I got pulled in by Emily Cromwell's design. She does bookish designs, and I got into her Instagram somehow, like recommendations, which turned into an ad, which turned into me buying a bunch of stuff from her site. But these things are so cute, and I don't think I even have everything here because I've been using some of it. But this is Emily Cromwell. This is a little, just a notepad. It's not sticky or anything, but just a notepad that has books with a coffee cup. This one is a little bookshop here. This one, so she has this sort of, I think this has a name to it in terms of like Book Lovers Lane or something like that. But this is like a weekly planning pad. It just, I'm a huge fan of polka dots. I love the bookshops. The drawing and the artwork on this is so colorful and pretty. I just love it. And I'm probably going to use this for kids' chores because we've been wanting to implement some chores over the summer. Andrew already does things like taking out the trash cans and stuff like that, but we want to give them more opportunities to have responsibility in the house. So I figure pulling this off every week and putting it on the fridge is going to be a good thing for them to do, but it's so adorable and I love it. I don't know how many sheets are in this, but it's so cute. But then she has this same drawing in a nighttime fair, kind of like a book fair at night. I mean, you guys, this is just, it's adorable. So this is a laminated bookmark. Then I also have this Romantasy bookmark. And this, just like a thank you card, also was so cute. I've definitely got to put that in my planner. I grabbed a few of her sticky notes, which is like a book one and a little bookcase with polka dots. Then this one says nights are for reading. I am usually a nighttime reader. And then another little bookmark, a book lover vinyl, and this one that says Book Lovers Lane, and it says Late Night Book Fair Festival Admit 1. It's like a little ticket, and these are all like waterproof vinyl. You can never have too many books. And then this one says Late Night Fantasy Book Club. So super, super cute. I will link her shop down below, but she does a lot of really cute, like pack this order with me Instagram reels, and it just reeled me in as it should. Okay, next, I know this is like epically long video, but we haven't chatted like this in a while. So hopefully you're in here for it and you're enjoying it. But I, once upon a time, have twice now set up a sort of reading / story journal that ideally I wanted to be not just a reading journal, but the kind of journal that I could use to track all the inspiring stories that I was consuming. And many of you know I had tried to set it up in an Archer and Olive never really stuck with it. So then I switched to an A5 Stalogy and putting it in this beautiful Hobonichi cover. And as I said, I love setting things up, not always easy to use it. I think, you know, several of you commented when I set this up that, you know, the pen, so here's where I made the mistake. I wanted something that was more flexible than the pages of an Archer and Olive, but instead of using the gel pens that I usually use, I used a felt tip pen, which then caused ridiculous amounts of bleed through, basically. So then as I used it, I was like, I don't like this. Because it was just too, it's not bad, but it's too, I don't know, it doesn't have the vibe. I don't know. Looking at it now, I'm kind of like, well, this is a little bit cute. Like, it is cute. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Maybe what I'm doing wrong is, you know, part of the reason that I have stuck so closely with my like nighttime journaling is because it's sitting right there by my bed. I have a routine. I sit down, I pull them out of my side table, I fill them out, I put them back where they belong. With this, it's never really had a home or a time slot in my day where I'm like, let me fill this out. And as you can see, I set this up over a year ago now and had planned on keeping track of the TV shows, the anime, my thoughts on them, just different stuff like that, books that I was reading. And it's not that I completely failed, but I just didn't really keep up with it the way that I wanted. So now my conundrum is I really do, now that I'm making more of an effort to read and watch more and refill my own well, I really do want a way to chronicle that, because I feel like I can just fill this out while I am watching stuff, right? But is this the right thing? Should I stick with this one because I set it up and it's barely used, but I don't love it? Or should I switch to something else? Most of the sort of booktubers and stuff who use bullet journals and stuff use Archer and Olive. And I do have some beautiful Archer and Olives. The problem with the Archer and Olive previously is just that it's so inflexible that it's hard to hold in your lap. And in fact, a part of me was thinking maybe I need something more like this that has the spiral so that I can fold it over on itself. And then it's just easy to hold on your lap and write. Whereas something like this needs to really be able to sit flat on your desk and you need more space to fill it out. I don't really know. I realize that this is not a serious life problem. However, it is something that I want to do, and I need to make it as easy as possible so I can stick through it. But anyway, I have this beautiful one that is kind of from their Halloween collections, kind of got this filigree on it, and it has the door and the eye, and it is all black pages. This would be really fun, but then it also feels like it's not as easy because you have to have special kinds of pens. So I would definitely need to make sure that wherever I stored it with the pens. But I also feel pressure when I look at this because it's like, okay, this was a special edition, you know, all the little things that go through our head. It was a special edition. I would need special pens for it. I don't even know for sure what types of printables are going to look good on it. Only certain kinds of washi tape will work on it. So maybe this is not the right solution. But I also have seen several people using square bullet journals, and I have always been attracted to this. So it came in this beautiful box. This is the like sort of ghosty one, and this is a square bullet journal. And it's just really appealing. It has the beautiful ghost in the mirror, and the rest is this black leather, sort of faux leather. And then it's all white pages. So it has the ghosties in front and it's all the white pages. And there's something really appealing about this shape. And I think it might be Plant-Based Bride uses this shape sometimes for her journals, because there's a chance to do kind of like Dutch doors and some cool stuff. But then again, this takes up even more space. So I think if I were going to try to fill this out, I would feel a lot of pressure to do it at a desk, rather than like I'm usually watching stuff either on our beanbag chair upstairs with the kids or in bed. And I don't know that this lends itself well to that. So if you have any thoughts, let me know. What's the easiest way? What do you use for a reading journal? The truth is I have thought before about either using Notion or using my Samsung tablet, because that is really easy to always have with you, to always update, and it doesn't take up much footprint. You don't have to have any special supplies on hand, but it's just not as satisfying for me to use a digital tool as it is to use a notebook that I can look back on. I don't know. It's a conundrum, but I have been trying to participate in the Goober Readathon with Joshi Corinne. I'm trying to read more books this month in May, and I wanted to chronicle it, but I just don't feel like I have the perfect notebook, which is kind of funny, but also, you know, relatable. Okay, I have one final notebook. Then we're going to get into our diverse read and our notebook giveaway for the month. But this one is a reward, and I have not earned it yet, but I do have plans for it. So for my birthday this year in January, I had decided that I was going to buy one of the new Louis Vuitton Emily notebooks that is it's like Murakami or whatever, the colorful one, you know, the white with the different colors of the Louis Vuitton. I'll put it on the screen here if I get a chance. But it sold out before it even came available. Apparently, like, all the concierge sales for Louis Vuitton sold out the entire collection, so they weren't even available to buy online, and only a few select stores had them. And I felt very sad because it was going to be my first Louis Vuitton purchase, and I was very excited for that notebook. So anyway, my dear friend Adrienne Michelle, which many of you know as Procrastiplanner, etc., messaged me and said, there's a beautiful Louis Vuitton notebook cover in a buy sell trade group. I'm going to add you to the group if you're interested. And I was, but it's a splurge, and I didn't get to do it for my birthday. So I was like, I'm going to do this as a reward. So this will be my reward. I can get to use this once I finish my first book in the Shadow Game series. So here is my brand new Louis Vuitton notebook cover. This is not the Emily. This is, now I can't remember the name of it, but this is a B6 Slim size. And this particular one is a fuchsia color with the embossed Louis Vuitton logo, and was only released in Japan. It is several years old and gently used, but I love it. It's the perfect color for me. It's so classy. This is something I know I'll have forever. It feels like a bit of a splurge, but I am excited to use it as motivation to finish this next book. I did already buy a couple of things to go inside, which is on the inside here, it just has this one ribbon, which does have a few pen marks on it that if you have any ideas of how to take these off without damaging, it's not on the leather, it's just on the ribbon. Can you see the little pen marks here? So it has two pockets, B6 Slim. So I ordered the B6 Slim monthly notebook this is their monthly booklet from Sterling Ink to put in the front. And then I bought the B6 Slim notebook that has 280 pages or whatever with the cover as well from Sterling Ink with the gold pages. And honestly, I wasn't sure. I ordered this before I got the planner in. I wasn't sure if I could do a bigger notebook, but it looks like it would actually hold the 500 page notebook. So I'll probably get that next when this one is done. But I love it so much. I'm obsessed with it. And it's just been like in George's closet because I can't use it yet, but I did pull it out just to be able to share it with you guys because it's so beautiful and I just love it. So this notebook is going to be sort of a meditation future journal. So I have my evidence notebook, which is things that have already happened. This is going to be all dedicated to dreams of my future life and journaling about how I want my life to be. So if you're familiar with Clifton Strengths, I'm #1 futuristic, and it is very good for me and healthy for me and just refills the well for me to sit down and really dream about what I want my life to be and how I want to take care of my kids, the travels I want to go on. So this is kind of like a dream notebook, I guess, where I will be journaling about the things I want to do and really looking at. So as somebody who grew up as a child of a narcissistic mother, sometimes I hit this point where it's like, is that something I want, or is that something I think I want because my mother told me to want it or pushed me to want it? And over the past really 10 years, there has been a lot of self-discovery going on about that. Is it really me who wants this, or is it a trauma response, or is it a response to how I was raised and what my parents' expectations of me were? And so this kind of journal is a perfect sort of way. And I've done this before in my regular nightly journaling, but I've never had a journal that was dedicated solely to this. And I feel like what better journal to use than like a luxury limited edition journal notebook cover, because this gives me a chance to really dream about what's possible for my life and what I want to create. It's kind of like a manifesting notebook, like a law of attraction, futuristic daydreaming notebook. And I'm so excited to use it. So I got to finish this book. And when I do, you will see it again in the notebook challenge. Okay, you guys, that's like an hour of notebooking together. But before we go, we have two things we need to discuss, which is our giveaway for the month, as well as our diverse read. And I am so excited to share with you our diverse read for the month, which is my friend Ebony Jackson. She is a Hardy here. She was at HardyCon, so shout out to everybody who was there. And she was so kind to bring me her book that was kind of her working prototype when she was coming up with this. Now, Ebony is a fantasy author, also fantasy romance author, but she also is a homeschool curriculum guru. And so her first book is this tome, When Life Gives You Homeschool Lesson Plans. And it says, hint, you'll get there. Like, the artwork on this is literally the cutest ever. And so if you are a homeschooling parent who is looking for some lesson plan guidance on how to really start your homeschool journey this next year, or whenever you're starting it, or you're on your journey for homeschool and you're just really looking for more examples, this pretty much has everything you could want about getting organized, homework, lessons, your room, your supplies, just everything you could need to really encourage you on your homeschooling journey. Here's a little picture of Ebony that says, Ebony Jackson is a homeschool mom with over 15 years under her belt as a master of science in education. She lives in sunny California with her husband, 3 children, and 2 dogs. So I just adore Ebony. I could have probably sat and talked to her for hours and hours and hours, and I'm so proud of her. So she not only has this book, When Life Gives You Homeschool Lesson Plans, but she also has a new set of books coming out that are going to feature, they're more like short booklets that are going to be all about the different aspects of homeschooling, like one on lesson plans, one on routines, et cetera, et cetera. And the first one of those is up for pre-order. So I will definitely link all of her information down below. Congratulations to Ebony, a Publish and Thrive student of ours and a success story. So I'm excited to see her continue to succeed over time. And finally, our notebook giveaway is one that has literally been in my closet since I think 2021. This is a Paper Destiny that I got at gosh, now I can't remember. What's the stores that sometimes are inside? Now I can't remember the name of the store, but they're sometimes inside malls. Somebody let me know, Paper Source or something like that. And it looks like this was a $17 notebook, so kind of expensive. It has rose gold detailing on it. It does have like a corner here that I must have pulled up at some point, so it's not perfect, but this is one that I had intentions for, and it has just been sitting in my closet for too long, and it needs to go to a home of someone that will love it. One of the things that I love about this notebook, not just that it's really chunky, it has a lot of pages in it, but also that it has this lay flat glued binding here. This is my favorite kind of binding. Even though it looks kind of rough, it's so fun because it literally lays completely flat. So if you are an artist, all of the pages in here are kind of thick, toothy paper. It would be perfect for sketches and artwork, or if you wanted to make it sort of a memory journal or collaging junk journal kind of thing. This type of binding just lays completely flat no matter what page you turn to, and it's amazing. I love this binding. It also has front and backing papers that sort of have this sort of Gilded Age modern look to it. So this is the notebook giveaway. If you would like to enter the giveaway, all you have to do is comment down below and let me know what you've been up to, how your spring is going so far. And any kind of emoji or comment will enter you to win. If you had previously won a notebook challenge and did not send me your address, please do so. And I feel like there might be 1 or 2 people that sort of slipped through the cracks when I was changing from having an assistant to not having an assistant. So if you won a notebook in the past and didn't get it, please send me a reminder, because I think I got them all out, but I might have missed somebody in that process of notification. So let me know, and I will choose one winner here by next Thursday. Thursday, and then you can send me your mailing address and I'll get this sent out right away. Next week, we will be starting up our How to Finish Your Novel series, and that will come with an entire workbook called the Finish Your Novel Toolkit. And so that is going to be the next thing up. There's going to be at least 6 or 7 videos relating to that, and I think it's going to be really helpful whether you have already finished a novel in the past or you have never finished a book. Hopefully it's going to have some really good both mindset tips and practical tips for sticking with one story, not getting too much in the weeds of your own self-doubt or shiny object syndrome where you just jump from project to project. Hopefully I'm going to be able to help you out a little bit with that, and we can work on that as a community. We will have another rough draft challenge coming up in the month of July, so we're going to be working our way towards that. Again, I also want to remind you that InkersCon, which is the best digital conference for authors, is now open for enrollment, and you can get $50 off if you use my code Sarra25. So all of that is linked for you down below. I've got my ticket already. It's the best conference. They have the best speakers. It's all the up-to-date information you need to know about marketing and craft in 2025. So highly, highly recommended. Get $50 off with my code. And I will see you guys in my next video, which will actually be an Erin Condren haul first, and then we'll be moving into the How to Finish Your Novel toolkit and all the videos that'll go along with that. I'm super excited for it. I hope you guys enjoyed this hour-long chat and hang out with me. I super love you and I appreciate you, because sometimes it can feel difficult to slow down and feel like you're losing that connection with your community. But what I love about you guys is that you're here and you genuinely understand what it's like to be a creative and to need a break. And I just appreciate you all so much. I hope you know that. So, okay, I will see you in my next video. And if you're not subscribed here, come join the Hardy's family, hit that subscribe button, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.